Making a killer steak at home is a fantastic skill to have. So throughout the years of being a chef, learning how to cook a steak to perfection is really not all that complicated, right? So in this video, I'm going to present all this information in a very easy to understand, easy to execute way for you to nail that perfect steak when you're cooking at home, okay? Let's go. So the very first thing I like to do is season the meat, okay? You let it come up to room temperature before you pan sear it. That's going to result in a very beautiful crust. It's going to result in this piece of meat being seasoned all the way through. New York strips, like I'm cooking today, really benefit from high heat, quick sear, okay? Medium rare is the temperature that we're going for today, but you could just cook it a little bit longer, a little bit less, depending on your desired temperature that you want for the steak, okay? Let me show you a very calculated way of seasoning the steak. We're going for technique, we're going for precision today, so I'm gonna show you how to do just that.
Alright, cool. So first thing that we're gonna do is weigh out the steak. Make sure you tear the scale instead of 3 grams, record this weight. So multiply that by 1% and we get 3 grams. Place a small dish onto the scale, tear it, and add 3 grams of salt. Roughly, this is what 3 grams of salt looks like. It is about 1 teaspoon. Visually, that's what it's gonna look like, okay? Season the meat on both sides. This is a very, very precise way of, salting this steak, right? Not too much, not too little. It is salted just right.
Other than pan searing the steak, we're gonna make this complete dish. So I'm gonna show you how I like to do potatoes, parsnip puree. I'm gonna show you how to fry some parsnips for a little beautiful garnish, and then we're gonna do a pan sauce, dude.
Now we're gonna let this sit at room temperature, basically the time that we're gonna make that parsnip puree and the fried parsnips. Alright, to start with the puree, we're gonna cut the ends off the parsnips, peel them, and then cut them into 1-inch pieces, roughly. For the potatoes, peel them, quarter them, and that's basically it. And then 3 whole garlic cloves, peeled. Next, we're going to get some water, fire it over high heat, and then salt it. Next, carefully place in the potatoes and the parsnips, and you want to blanch them until they are fork tender.
Parsnips and potatoes are just now fork tender. I'm gonna run these through a food mill. Food mills come with these discs that have different sized holes, okay? That it really is gonna dictate how pureed something's gonna be, essentially, right? For potatoes, I like to go with the one that has the medium sized holes. Any finer than that, then they kind of get a little gluey. This big one, you can still use. It'll make it a little more lumpier. I want to go for a perfect, just smooth texture on the puree, okay? So this is what I'm gonna use. Bring this right over here. Boom. Set up the food mill. So drop the disc in. It's gonna fit right in the bottom like that. Bowl. Put the food mill over the bowl, and then these are gonna get put in this when they're hot. Probably need to do this in some sort of a batch.
Using a food mill is a beautiful way to get this puree beautifully smooth. Now add in a tablespoon worth of unsalted butter and give it a good pinch of salt and some freshly cracked black pepper.
So the cool thing about using the food mill is it really makes these nice and soft and just so smooth. So with that butter, salt, pepper in there, it's really just gotta mix it up. I mean, look at that. Perfectly smooth. I love that. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Taste. What we're checking for now is seasoning. Doesn't need any more salt, doesn't need more pepper. Perfect. Wow. Okay.
Alright, beautiful. Now that the puree is done, let's make these fried parsnips. Basically, peel the outer skin of the parsnips off and then peel these into thin strips until you whittle this thing down to the core. Heat up the oil to 365, 375 degrees, somewhere around there, and then carefully place in the parsnips. Be careful not to overfill the pot with oil because parsnips have a good amount of water content and you can overflow the oil if you have the pot too full of oil. Basically, just be super careful. Make sure you stir these and flip them around as these cook really, really quick. They go from brown to burnt rather quickly, okay? This will take about 2 minutes, if that. Once they are beautifully golden brown, then go ahead and remove them from the oil onto a paper towel lined plate and hit them with a little pinch of salt. That's basically it. I love the crispy texture on these, and they get very sweet when they get fried.
Now, what's next on the list here? We're gonna go over how to pan sear the steak and then how to make basically a complete dish out of this, okay? Cast iron skillets are the best thing when you're trying to get a good crust, good flavor, good sear on a steak like this, because they're thick bottom that you retain the heat, and then the cast iron really works well with the natural flavor of the beef, okay? It makes it just a little more earthy. Whenever I'm searing meat, I like to kind of match whatever the meat is with the type of fat. Tallow. If you don't have tallow, you could use avocado oil or other just high temp oil, okay?
Now we can finally get to the start of the show, pan searing this New York strip steak. So before we do, make sure that you pat this thing dry. I have my cast iron skillet warmed up over medium height until it's literally smoking. Now is a good time to turn on your hood vent and drop in the tallow. I'm using about 2 tablespoons worth of it, and then I'm gonna go in with the steak, searing the fat cap first if it has a good one. For how hot the pan is, you really only need to do this for about 20 seconds. Now, sear the first side of the steak. This is literally only gonna go for about a minute and a half for 1 inch thick steak for a medium rare. Get that beautiful crust, flip it over, and then sear it for another 20 seconds before adding in a little bit of unsalted butter and some herbs. Okay, now we're gonna baste the steak with the hot butter as it's melting, getting brown, getting flavor from the thyme, perfuming the steak, giving it great flavor. After about a minute of cook time on that last side, then you want to remove the steak and put it on a plate to rest. I like to put that thyme right on top of the steak and pour some of that hot oil on top of it while it rests for about 8 minutes. Just enough time to make the pan sauce, so we put some garlic into the pan with a little bit of oil, and you want to sweat the garlic down until it loses its rawness and slightly starts to brown, okay? I've reduced the heat to a medium-low, and we're going to cook the garlic for about 30 seconds. Now we want to add in a 1/4 cup of wine, and we want to reduce this wine to about 2 tablespoons. Cast iron skillets definitely retain a lot of heat, so you want to be careful with not burning the garlic, stirring it very frequently. Agitate the pan, just swirling it around as that wine's reducing. It should only take about 1.5 to 2 minutes. After wine has reduced, add in the beef stock. Next, you want to add in a splash of heavy cream. You want to continue to cook the sauce for about 2 to 3 minutes until the sauce is reduced nice and thick and bubbly, making sure to stir frequently. Take note of how the bubbles look when this is simmering and when it gets to the correct viscosity. When I'm stirring the sauce, look at how the streaks are left in the sauce, splitting the sauce, and it holds its shape for about half of a second. That is when you know when it's beautifully reduced and ready to plate.
Throw down some of this potato parsnip puree.
Directly underneath sauce making, plating is my favorite part of cooking. Be creative with it and have fun.
And then this beautiful steak. Whoa, it's gorgeous looking, man. Drizzle some of this gorgeous looking sauce right on top of that steak. Oh my god, that looks so good. Then we're gonna top it off with some of these fried parsnips. That is a thing of beauty. That's proper. After watching this video, I have full confidence that you're gonna be able to execute this dish just as beautiful, just as tasty as this, okay? So what did we learn? We learned seasoning the steak and letting it sit at room temperature. Letting it come up to room temperature for about 30 minutes is very, very crucial. We also learned that pan searing it at high temp, that quick sear, is very beneficial for the overall tenderness, the overall flavor of this beautiful cut of meat. This is the moment of truth. So I wanna taste this puree with a little bit of the sauce first. Every aspect of the dish, no matter what it is that you're making, it should be able to stand up on its own, right? What I mean by that is this potato parsnip puree should taste just amazing all on its own. These fried parsnips should taste amazing on their own. The sauce should taste amazing on its own. And then you combine everything together, what you end up with is just elite level dish that people are gonna beg you for the recipe for, right? We're going from mediocre cooking at home, perfect execution, elite level cooking at home. Okay, it's simple, it's all about technique. The whole point of putting all this into a dish is so that we could get it all in one singular bite. And you can't beat it, you just can't. The steak has a beautiful texture on it, has that beautiful crust on the outside of it, and the overall tenderness of it is just amazing. And then I love the crisp factor of the fried parsnip.